Hi everyone. Today we will discuss voice. Voice is a topic which is studied under the topic of transformation. It is a very important topic for the students and for the learners who want to make their speech effective. First of all, we are going to discuss the definition of voice. Voice is a verb form that shows the prominence of subject or object. Subject or agent is the part of sentence about which we say something in the given sentence. And object. Object is the part of sentence on which the action is transferred or pass over. To identify object, there is a very simple trick. If any part of sentence gives the answer what or whom after not making a rainbow structure, that is definitely an object. Kinds of voice. There are two kinds of voice. First one active voice and next one passive voice. The definition of active voice is if the subject is prominent, it is active voice. Prominent means important. If in a sentence subject is given priority or importance, it is active voice. Like Ram is swimming. Here Ram is important for us. That's why we have written it in the starting. So the sentence contains active voice. Passive voice definition. If the object is important, it is passive voice. So there is a slightest difference between active and passive voice. If the subject is important, in that condition it is active voice, and if the object is important, in that condition it is passive voice. For example, the bird was killed yesterday. Here the importance has been given to the bird, that is the object of active subject. So it is the affected, and if affected is important in that condition, that is passive voice. Rules to transform sentences from active voice to passive voice. Interchange subject and object. First rule. Remember, we can change an active voice sentence into passive voice if it contains object. Though there are some exceptions of this rule, but first we have to interchange subject and object. Means in this slot of subject we have to put object, and in the slot of object we have to put subject. Second rule, use be plus third form, that is known as past participle. After interchanging subject and object, we have to use be plus third form according to the structure of the sentence. There are 8 verb forms of be. Present forms are is am are. Past form of be are was and were. Base form is be. Third form of be is been, and ing form is being. To identify any sentence whether it contains active voice or passive voice, there is a very simple method. If there is be plus third form in a sentence, that is passive voice. There is be plus third form in verb phrase, that is passive voice. Third rule: use objective case of the subject after a preposition. First rule: interchange subject and object. Second, use be plus third form. And third rule is use objective case of subject after a preposition. Means we have to put the subject of passive voice in the end of the sentence. On the slot of object, changes in verb forms. So here we study how the verbs are changed. So first form of verb is changed into is/am. Base form plus s or es is changed into is/am. Do or does is also changed into is/am. If there is simple present tense helping verb, we change that into the helping verbs of present continuous tense. So if there is simple present tense, we change it into present continuous tense. Is/am is changed into is/am plus being. Has have is changed into has have plus been. Has been or have been is changed into has been or have been plus being. Generally, we do not change has been or have been into passive voice, and it is also not asked in the examination. But according to a great grammarian, Michael Swan, he mentions in his book Practical Uses of English that we can change the active voice sentence of present perfect continuous tense using being. It has been mentioned on page number 458. Second form is changed into was were, and did is changed into was were. If there is simple past tense in active voice sentence, we change the verbs of that tense into was or were. So if there is simple past tense, we change that into past continuous tense. Next one is was or were. Was and were are changed into was, were plus being. If there is past continuous tense, use plus being. Had is changed into had been, and had been is changed into had been plus being. Again, had been is the helping verb of past perfect continuous tense, and in examination or in general life we do not use such kind of structures in passive voice because these are weighty structures. But authentically we can use these structures into passive voice. So remember here, simple past in past continuous plus being, and past perfect plus been. Next tense is future tense. Shall will is changed into shall be or will be. Shall have or will have are changed into shall have been or will have been. If there is simple future tense, use the structures of future continuous tense. Models. After modals we use be, base form of be. There are 13 modals in English grammar, and after modals we have to use be to change that sentence into passive voice. After studying these patterns of verb forms, we can say that all simple tenses are changed into continuous tenses. All continuous tenses take being, and all perfect tenses take been, while changing or transforming them into passive structure. How to identify an object in a sentence? This is really very important for us, because if we do not know about the object, in that condition we cannot change or transform a sentence into passive voice, because the first rule of passive voice says that there should be interchange of subject and object. So it is really very important for us to know about the object. As we know that there should be a transitive verb in a passive voice structure or active voice structure if we want to transform these structures into each other. There should not be a rainbow structure in a sentence. If we have to identify object, so there should not be rainbow structure between subject and object. Means these two things or terms should not represent each other. And second thing, it gives the answer of what or whom. If the word written in a sentence gives the answer of what or whom, it is a object, but it should be after transitive verb in general sentences. Examples. First example is Rahul plays football. Rahul is subject in this sentence, plays is transitive verb, and football is object. So according to first rule, interchange subject and object. In the slot of football we have to put Rahul, and in the slot of Rahul we have to put football. So football plays is yes or yes, so we have to change that into is. So football is third form of play is played and by Rahul. So the answer is football is played by Rahul. Next, Navya does not write stories. Navya is subject, does not write verb, and stories is object. So stories, we have to put stories in the starting. Stories does not is changed into ismr. Stories is plural, so we have to use are. The stories are not. Third form of write is written, and in the end we have to put subject, so by Navya. So the answer is stories are not written by Navya. Stories is plural, that's why we are using here are. Navya is singular, that's why we have used here does. Next sentence, you can do it. You is subject, can do verb, and it is object. So object is put in the slot of subject, so it is written in starting it. Can is modal, after modal we use be plus third form, so it can be done, and subject is written in the end using a preposition, after a preposition, so it can be done by you. That is the answer of this question. She wrote a poem. She subject, wrote verb, and a poem is object. So a poem is written in starting, wrote is second form is changed into was were. A poem is singular, so we have to use was. After third form of write is written, and in the last we have to put the objective case of subject after a preposition, so by her. So the answer is a poem was written by her. Next question. The boys have received the books. The boys is subject. Have received verb. The books object. According to rule, we have to interchange subject and object. So put subject in the starting. The books have plus been. So the books have been, third form, received by the boys. So the answer is the books have been received by the boys. We have interchanged subject and object in this sentence according to rule. My friends did not listen music. My friend's subject did not listen. Verb music is object. Music is written starting because it is object. So music did not listen is simple past tense. Simple past is changed into past continuous. So was according to music. Note plus third form of listen, listened by plus subject. So the answer is music was not listened by my friends. She will return the books. She is subject, will return is verb, the books is object. So the answer must be the books will be written by her, because the books is object and object is written in starting. After will we use be because that is modal. So the books will be, third form of written is returned, and objective case of subject is her. So that is the answer. My father had invited my friends. My father is subject, had invited is verb, and my friends is object. So put object on the slot of subject. So my friends had is changed into had been, and third form of invite is invited, that is has already been given to us. So the answer is my friends had been invited by my father. My father is subject, put that in the end after a preposition. Next question. The drivers will have written the supplies. The drivers subject will have written verb, the supplies object. Subject and object are interchanged as we have discussed. So the supplies will have is changed into will have been, and third form of written is written. The drivers is subject, so we have to put that in the end using by or after by preposition. So the answer is the supplies will have been returned by the drivers. Next question is, he has eaten food. He is subject, has eaten is verb, and food is object. So put object on the slot of subject. So food is written in starting, has is changed into has been or have been, food is singular, so we have to use has been. So the answer is food has been, third form eaten by him. Objective case of him, he is him. The thief stole the whole amount. The thief is subject, stole is verb, the whole amount is object, because it is giving the answer of what. What did thief steal? The answer is the whole amount, and the word which gives the answer of what or whom is object. So the answer would be the whole amount was stolen by the thief. Second form is changed into was, and third form of stole is stolen. Next, the students have not submitted my documents. The students subject, have not submitted verb, my documents object. Object is written in starting, so my documents. Have or has is changed into has or have plus been. Documents is plural, so we have to use here have. After first helping verb we use not, though there are two helping verbs have and been. So the answer would be my documents have not been submitted by the students. Learn all the rules and do exercise given in our books and keep practicing for learning these rules and structures. We'll discuss remaining in next volume.